have suddenly gone mum on Donald Trump's alleged nefarious collusion with Russia. That's because after 11 months of incessant accusations that Trump is a Putin puppet, it turns out that the Democrats colluded with Russia. You cannot make this up. We will analyze the most egregious political hypocrisy since all of the other parts of Hillary Clinton's campaign. Then Alicia Krause and Jacob Airy join the panel of deplorables to discuss Kid Rock's abdicating his civic duty, Frederica Wilson's 16th minute of fame, and why men would rather play video games than work. I can't imagine. I'm Michael Knowles, and this is The Michael Knowles Show. This is my favorite news cycle in a very long time. But first, we can't get to it because we've hit the big time. We have finally hit the big time, Marshall. We have a new sponsor. We have someone that is going to keep you employed, keep me in covfefe and the lights running. And this is a good one. This is Movement Watches. MVMT, but we pronounce it movement because, look, we don't have time for all those vowels. We got to move. We got places to be, people to see. Movement Watches, it was founded on the belief that style shouldn't break the bank. Now, I've ordered my movement watch. One of the great things about doing this show, obviously Ben hasn't paid me in years, but I do get some freebies when we get to try out the products. I have been waiting. I've been salivating for Movement to advertise with us. I just ordered the watch from them, and I'm actually kind of kicking myself because they have this new line that just came out today, I think, or yesterday, called Revolver, and these watches are some of the nicest ones they put out yet. I love watches. I have a nice watch collection, but I despise overpaying for watches. You go into a department store, you pay $300, $400, more than that, $500 for, the watches are nice, but I don't want to spend $500 on it. Movement watches begin at $95. Just $95 for a beautiful watch. It's sleek, it's modern, but it's got a pretty cool vintage feel on a lot of their models, especially the one that I got. I got the titanium white chrono, and it should be coming in a few days, so I'll start wearing it then. It's really cool. The guys who started it, they figured it out in college. They wanted nice watches. They didn't want to pay a lot for it. So what would you do? Well, you'd start your own watch company, right? That's what they did. They started at $95. They figured out that by selling them online, you don't need to mark it up like crazy and pay all of these advertising fees and everything like that. So they've sold over 1 million watches so far. This is by far the fastest growing watch company in the world. They've sold 1 million watches to 160 countries. It's really nice. It's the name of the game here is kind of minimalism. It's not one of those really gaudy watches that like brushes your teeth for you. It's really sleek. You can wear it up. You can dress it up. You can wear it as your everyday watch. I'm going to try to twist the arm of of the people who do our ads and try to get a few so I can play around with them. The other nice thing is that today, you get 15% off if you use the promo code. And Marshall, what do you think that promo code is?
I'd say covfefe.
It would be covfefe. So what you have to do right now, you get free shipping, you get free returns. You have to go to mvmt.com/covfefe. That is COVFEFE. Any company that is willing to give you a discount for the word covfefe, go over there right now and give them some love, man. That is a great thing. mvmt.com/covfefe. Now is the time to step up your watch game. If you're a serious person, you got places to be, people to see, so you got to wear a watch. mvmt.com/covfefe. Join the movement. All right. Man, I love that promo code so much. That is so good. Okay, but they're a great company, and you got to support them. So, do you remember? Listen, I'm a little older than you, dear listener and viewer. So do you remember how Democrats have spent the last 11 months breathlessly accusing Donald Trump and Republicans of, quote, colluding with Russia?
I have no memory of that.
You don't remember? I know. People's political memories are very short. Let me jog your memory.
This week, we saw cold, hard evidence of the Trump campaign, indeed the Trump family, eagerly intending to collude, possibly, with Russia.
Well, that's because he'd rather have a puppet as president of the United States.
No puppet.
And it's pretty clear.
You're the puppet.
It's pretty clear you won't admit
No, you're
that
the
the
puppet.
Russians have engaged in cyber attacks against the United States of America, that you encouraged espionage against our people, that you are willing to spout the Putin line sign up for his wish list, break up NATO, do whatever he wants to do, and that you continue to get help from him because he has a very clear favorite in this race.
Clinton told USA Today's Susan Page she is, quote, convinced Trump associates colluded with Russia to help her opponent win.
She's convinced. Hillary says it, folks. She got it. When has Hillary Clinton ever lied? Let me ask you that. They have been harping on this for 11 months now, and then it just went away. And then just overnight, it just went away. And you don't see it reported anymore. For some reason, it dropped out of the news. My fiance, I was writing the show a few mornings ago. My fiance, sweet little Elisa, came out all bleary-eyed. She said, Mike, what happened to Russia? What happened? I don't know what happened to Russia. I assumed they stopped talking about it because it ran out of steam. You know, they kept trying to imply that Trump, who is a guy that we've known for 4 decades, he's been in the public eye forever, that he was some kind of Manchurian candidate. Even top Democrats like Van Jones admitted that this was nonsense.
Cyber war is real war. So you have an active attack on our country, and you have the president-elect cannot find it in himself to say this is wrong, and it needs to stop.
Hey, man.
The Russia thing is just a big nothing burger.
Really? You don't think that,
There's nothing there you can do.
The Russia thing's a big nothing burger. There's nothing you can do. So I assumed that was why this ran out of steam. They just realized it wasn't going to go anywhere. They used it as a cudgel as long as they could, but that's it. Eventually, you can't beat a dead horse. No, that's not what it seems like now. Apparently now, the reason they've shut their mouths about it is because the Democrats may have colluded with Russia. We've learned that just this. You couldn't write this. You couldn't script a better end to this nonsense that they've been spouting for 11 months. Now, they do this a lot. The Democrats do this a lot. They project onto Republicans the things that are true of themselves. So they harp on forever and ever. They say, the Fox News is fake news. You know, it's fake news, and you don't get reliable news like us. Meanwhile, CNN is running fraudulent stories. A story within the last 3 months so bad they had to fire an entire news team for it. New York Times, their major story on Trump-Russia collusion, they had to retract it. They had to retract the whole story. Jim Comey said that it was fake news under oath when he was testifying before Congress. The other one that they use a lot is that Republicans are hateful and extreme. So they'll say, you know, you guys, you just hate you're haters, you're bigoted, you're racist, sexist, this, that, and the other thing. Meanwhile, it's almost exclusively Democrats who are torching cities, torching campuses, censoring speech. They have to spend $600,000 to protect Ben Shapiro when he comes to Berkeley because he's going to talk about how you shouldn't censor speech. But no, it's the Republicans who are the hateful ones. They say Republicans deny science. Meanwhile, it's the Democrats who are the ones who insist that a man can physically become a woman as long as he wishes it very much, or he imagines it, or he identifies as that in some metaphysical way, right? Denying science, fake news, hateful and bigoted. They throw it on us, but obviously it seems to apply more accurately to them. Now, by collusion, I am not just talking about the time that Barack Obama publicly, on video and on microphone, promised the president of Russia, Dmitry Medvedev, that he would lie to the American people to benefit Russian interests. But to just...
My wife's elected, yeah. After my election, I have more flexibility. Yeah. I understand. I trust this relationship to Vladimir unless that was... My wife's elected, yeah. After my election, I have more flexibility. Yeah. I understand. I trust this relationship to Vladimir unless that was...
Yeah. So we caught him on a video doing that. But that's not just what I'm talking about. NBC News is now reporting Special Counsel Mueller, who is investigating the Trump-Russia connections. He is investigating also Democrat lobbyist Tony Podesta. Podesta, why does that name sound familiar? Ah, yes, because he's the brother of the chairman of Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign. So apparently Podesta and the Podesta Group may have violated the Foreign Agents Registration Act, which is a felony, by the way. He failed to disclose lucrative lobbying for Russian interests in the Ukraine. That isn't all we know. We also know that the FBI had evidence for 2 years that Russian agents, including a major sleeper cell, was trying to infiltrate the Clinton circle. We know that a Putin-linked bank paid Bill Clinton $500,000, $500,000, just a few weeks after Hillary helped American executives travel to Moscow to support Putin's interests to build his own version of Silicon Valley, to build up his own Russian tech industry. We also know that the Obama administration knew about Russian bribery before cutting a deal to give Russia a major chunk of the U.S. uranium supply. The FBI knew as early as 2009 that the Kremlin had compromised an American uranium trucking company. Russia received $2 million in kickbacks in violation of the Foreign Corruptions Practices Act. Russian nuclear officials transported millions of dollars into the United States with the express purpose of benefiting the Clinton Foundation, the Clinton Global Initiative, to try to buy their way into the Clinton Circle in the State Department. We know that Obama's Attorney General, Eric Holder, who is the most corrupt Attorney General until Obama's next Attorney General, Loretta Lynch, we know that he did not bring charges about this until the nuclear deals were cut. And we know that the first deal, Uranium One, gave Russia control over 20% of America's uranium supply. That is a little bit more than Nancy Pelosi and Hillary Clinton were throwing at Donald Trump. They said, well, there were too many Pepe memes on Twitter. Obviously, they colluded with Russia. Looks like there's a little bit more on Democrats. So sorry, fellas, proceed with caution. Those in glass houses should not throw uranium at Republicans. Let's bring on our panel to discuss this. We have the Daily Wire's own Alicia Krause and a man you might know from wandering around the sidewalk muttering to himself, Jacob Airy. Panel, thank you for being here.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Alicia, the question on everyone's mind.
Yep.
Who most colluded with Russia? Who is the most nefarious Putin stooge, Manchurian politician? Is it the Democrats or the Republicans?
I don't know that I can answer that off the top of my head, but can I just shout feminists? Because Emily Zanotti had a really great piece over at the Daily Wire earlier today in which she said that feminists actually accidentally touted Russia's propaganda when they planned their whole Women's March thing. I spent so much time pointing and laughing at that this morning. It just brought me so much glee. And as the mother on the show today, I would just like to say that no one should ever be throwing uranium.
Do not throw uranium. Keep it down, kids. And you gave the only answer that is better than Democrats, and that's feminists. Blame the feminists. I do for everything. Jacob, why did it take so long for the media to cover the Russia corruption on the left? I noticed there's been breathless coverage on the right. How come it's taken this long? We've known about this for years now. We've known about this for 8 years.
I think it's partially due to social media, and people are going, whataboutism? Like they're saying, when they're saying, oh, Trump's son met with a Russian lawyer or whatever, and they're like, what about Hillary's deal to bring in a Russian oil company to the United States? And now they can't ignore it, because before you just had to take the journalists' words for it, right? You had to go to the CNN and go to the New York Times and even Fox News. But now with social media, people are actually calling out the mainstream media for all these mistakes. So now they can't hide it anymore. Now when they're actually perpetuating these fake news stories, people are noticing and they're holding them accountable.
Do you think it's sinking in with Democrats? I mean, obviously Van Jones is admitting it's a nothing burger, but with the rank and file Democrats, do you think it's sinking in that this Trump-Russia collusion thing is ridiculous, that it's not going to get them anywhere politically?
I think they thought it was ridiculous to begin with. Again, it's one of those don't look at yourself in the mirror type of situations. The pot calling the kettle black. In this case, I think that they knew it from the beginning, but now the American people are going, listen, we want to talk about jobs. Trump won. Let's talk about the economy. Let's talk about our foreign policy, which was disastrous for the last 8 years. So I think they've just decided we just need to move on because the American people aren't taking our bullcrap anymore.
You watch your language, mister. This is a family program.
I love it. My mom would call that imitation cussing, Jacob, so be careful.
We do. Even our expletives are wholesome.
Yeah.
That's what we try to do on a family show. Okay, well, we need to get to one of the craziest Democrats in the entire planet, Frederica Wilson and her 16th minute of fame. We have to talk about why men would rather play video games than do their jobs. Shocking. We have a lot of other things to cover. But unfortunately, you can't see it. If you are not subscribed to the Daily Wire, you can't see the rest of the show. We have a lot more coming up. If you subscribe right now, you'll pay $10 a month or $100 for an annual membership. You'll get me. You get the Andrew Klavan Show. You get the Ben Shapiro Show. I know. We've heard it a million times. What about this, fellas? What about this? In light of the new information that's come to the surface that Democrats have colluded with Russia, this Leftist Tears Tumblr, you're going to need about 100 of these. You're going to have to put them all over your house. It's going to be a Noah-like torrent of salty, salty floods, and you can serve those tears hot or cold. They'll always be salty and delicious. We can get the Frederica Wilson vintage. We can get the Hillary vintage. It's going to become, you're not going to know what to do with them. You'll get creative and make your own blends. So go over there right now, dailywire.com. Get all the shows, get the ad-free website, and get your Leftist Tears Tumblr. We'll be right back.